What's good, elevators? It's your boy Elevation here with another episode of the JBP Elevated, where we speak on the Joe Budden podcast and all of his co-hosts on and off the pod. Not even gonna hold you, Joe, if you listening, now is a prime opportunity to jump on the untouchable fish. She's fresh out the water, just got released from FS1. You can shake up the whole podcast network by signing Joy Taylor. Now, I'm not saying replace anyone. I'm not saying that by any means. Y'all hear me out. Hear me out before y'all jump on me in the comments. Joy Taylor could bring the sports element that Joe is so heavily coveting for Prize Picks. Prize Picks don't care. I'm just going to put it out there. Prize Picks ain't looking at Joy like she's untouchable. So you can get your sports anchor in Joy Taylor. You can boost your ratings as far as the visuals are concerned, adding to Melissa Ford's presence, who, by the way, has been killing it. I know I've been getting on her lately, but let's be clear, she's still beautiful. You could add Joy to that stable. You're winning in that department. And then because of the controversy that's surrounding her name right now, you're going to get all the eyes, clicks, and views on the Joe Budden podcast. Ding, ding, ding. And because something got settled already with FS1 and Mr. Dixon and all the other alleged parties, who's to say that she can't speak on what actually happened and what's going on? Bang, bang, bang. Hit him over the head. And as far as the chemistry amongst the co-hosts, Ish sat in Flip's chair for a reason during that interview. It would be dope to poke fun at that. And everybody keeps telling me Mark's not leaving these interviews for a reason. So the inclusion of Joy Taylor would help debunk that, in my mind at least. In my mind. Because I can't believe I'm the only one finding it controversial that the actual journalist and the person that does the best on interviews is not present for some of the best hitting interviews, supposedly in Joe's eyes. That's how he's treating these past two interviews. But this could shake up the whole dynamic of the Joe Budden podcast. And let me be clear, I'm not a quote-unquote fan of Joy Taylor. I don't watch her on Outside Ventures. Of course, we all know of her because of FS1 and her ties. And there's things that have been alleged with Jason Whitlock that I spoke on in a video I made like 6 or 7 months ago. It's probably still on the page. But if I'm Joe Budden and if I'm Ian Swartzman, I'm looking at Joy Taylor very, very closely. And I know when the Patreon numbers leaked, I was speaking on it like Joe could reach out and get anybody with these numbers. These guys aren't making more than this annually, because I'm a fan of Marcellus Wiley, and he has been letting everything fly as far as the Joy Taylor, Emmanuel Ocho, FS1 suit. He let it be known that he was making high 1.7, 1.8 million a year or every 2 years through his contract with FS1, and he was one of the top paid dogs. So keep that in mind when we're seeing numbers that Joe's throwing out on his Patreon as far as 1 million a month. And that's just through one course or like through one entity, one outlet. Ain't no telling what he's actually pulling in. But yeah, if these guys are making 1 million annually at top rated conglomerates, what the hell do you think Joe could pay them? And hey, you can figure it out. Even if Joe doesn't have any chemistry with any of the cast, you can give her her own show. That's just something to think about. And I'm not pulling for it. I'm just pulling this idea out of thin air, because I absolutely made a video on the Patreon speaking about this that ties into Melissa a little bit, but not in a positive manner, and I've been kicking her back in a lot, so let me take it easy. I think Joy and Melissa Ford together would be prime time television, especially when it comes to gender topics. You want to get your gender topics off, that would be the perfect course to go. Because Joy's going to speak her mind. And Melissa's getting better at speaking her mind, so it's only going to put a battery in her back to speak her mind even more. And then women, well, let me not say Joy and Melissa could represent women in general, but there'll be more of a force with women on the pod. Because I know women don't view themselves as Melissa and Joy, but it would be dope to have more than one woman on the pod. And I don't think Melissa would be super opposed to Joy Taylor because she's in a controversial moment right now. So it would get a lot of the dog piling off of Melissa, but she can still keep the spotlight on her because she's going to be seen as the positive out of the two. I don't know. And then we could really see what Flip has to offer, because Flip right now is going through a conundrum. He feels that his value isn't being shown on the JBP currently. He has a lot. He feels that it's not being shown or utilized in the correct manner. So it would be kind of dope, at least, if he was to have the chemistry with her, at least. It'd be crazy to see how Flip responds to all of this. And then, like I said, the ish dynamic with Joy and Mel up there, and Imani with Joy and Mel up there, oh my God, we can run with those narratives for days. But it's just something to think about. Joe's always telling us that we gotta be proud with what we're putting out. We gotta back our content. We gotta constantly be evolving because everything's changing. This is one of those evolution moves. This is something that could keep you at the top. But like I spoke on earlier, I'm very curious to see what Joe spoke about or was interviewed about in this New York Times piece, because that's going to determine a lot of things for me as far as the JBP's future is concerned. And we got to pay attention to the names that are mentioned in this article. So be on the lookout to see where Joy lands next, because she's not just going to be unsigned for long. And she was going on this podcast tour for a reason. I found it peculiar when it was happening. I asked, I was like, why is Joy Taylor going on this run? But Marcellus, he broke all of that shit down. She knew she was getting the boot probably back in April, and they had to slow walk the dog. They couldn't just leave her out to dry. So maybe she was doing that podcast run as far as whatever book she's pulling out, whatever tour she was going on. I don't know, but maybe she was looking for a job. Maybe she was looking to see what the analytics did when she arrived on these shows as opposed to everywhere else. And that's something that Joe is doing that I don't speak on a lot when it comes to why he's putting all these interviews behind the Patreon wall. Because the analytics won't ever be able to, you won't be able to use my analytics for your tour runs, ever. You just have to go based off of what I'm giving you. Sorry. And I know that has a bigger play further down the line when it comes to these acquisitions that are happening with all these companies currently. I'm telling y'all, later down the line, whenever the laws get made, it's going to happen after the current crop of owners on YouTube and platforms of this nature sell the ship. That's when the laws are going to get made for all this shit, so it can never happen again. So we got to pay attention to all the movements that are being made currently. And best believe Joe is paying attention to all of them. And this could be something that ties right into that. Just very coincidental timing that she went on this press run, and not even a month later, she gets the boot. So, Joe, the ball's in your court. I'm curious to see what you have to do with it. I appreciate y'all, man. I don't even have any more words to say. I'm speechless. I appreciate y'all so much. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to the page if you haven't. If you have, you already know how we rock it. You already know what it is over here. Y'all be safe. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.